Arp 2600. I just think it's the coolest name. Like it sounds like a time machine to me, like the Arp 2600, like so cool. This is one of the most iconic and powerful and certainly flexible analog synthesizers of all time. Known for its like warm, raw and very sort of punchy, distinct character, if you will. Like look no further than the bass sound in Thriller, or the beautiful like da 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 from Close Encounters, or Jean-Michel's Oxygene, or R2-D2 in Star Wars, Nine Inch Nails, Radiohead, Depeche Mode, you name it. Like this thing is all over music history. Now, there were several generations made of the Arp 2600, and there's a distinct difference as we go through the different generations. The first couple of generations had a variation of the infamous Moog ladder filter design, and a lot of Arp 2600 enthusiasts will lean towards the first couple of generations because of that. The filter is delicious. So we were lucky enough to work with Ryan Hawkins here in LA, who has a distinctively large collection of Arp 2600s, and go through the different generations and figure out what was best for this project. And it turned out that he had a couple of really old vintage models with this first generation filter. I was lucky enough to ultra deep sample this unit for a period of over 3 months and really just get super close and intimately familiar with the unit, if you will. This is not an emulation. This is not a simulation. This is truly what the Arp 2600 sounds like in its actual condition. But in addition to all the samples themselves, we also applied our new CAF technology. CAF stands for Capture Analog Filter, and it's a way that we can truly capture how filter operates in these old vintage units. It's never been done before, and it's something that makes Soundpaint distinctively closer to the vintage units when it really, if you really just want an actual representation, in my belief system, this is the way to do it. We captured 2 of the early generations of the Arp 2600 in the form of the Arp 2600 Tonus and the Arp 2600 Blue Marvin, which both had that older self-resonating Moog filter design. The chips are known as Unit 4012 for those of you who are interested. Now, we have a label in Soundpaint that we don't use so often, but when we do, it's to send a statement that this has never been done before in terms of depth and fidelity. And this library gets the stamp of UDS with over 21,000 samples. So often when people record synthesizers, they'll record a couple of different notes and say, okay, that's sort of a patch. But the way I like to do it with UDS is that we, for example, with the raw oscillators on the Arp, which is really a big part of its sound, to capture every single note for every single type of oscillator and all their different positions and get that deep into it. So I know 100% sure that I have a full capture of the unit. The sound of the Arp 2600 for me is about like powerful leads and raw, punchy basses. It's extremely good at that. It's also a wonderful percussion machine. You can make like booming, beating 808s out of it. Obviously, robotic sounds like R2-D2 or electronic percussion. It's an incredibly versatile synth that allows you to virtually build anything you want in it. Never mind that it's nearly monophonic. It has 3 oscillators, but you can't really play it in polyphony. We can do that in Soundpaint now. You can play as many notes as you want. In fact, we can stack up to 8 different Arp 2600s and play each of them in polyphony. This is where it gets mad. Even one part in this library is more than enough. You know, tread lightly, tread with caution. This is an Arp 2600. It's to be respected in all regards, really. Just like Herbie Hancock did on Chameleon when he used it, or Weather Report did on Birdland, or Stevie Wonder's Living for the City. It goes on and on and on and on. But more importantly is the fact that Dan Chmielinsky is going to be your host in this video. We're lucky enough that Dan had a little slice in his very, very busy schedule. He's been touring with the great trumpetist Chris Buddy for the last couple of years to take this library for a spin and also make some patches for it. You'll see as Dan goes through this library here that between him and I, we split the work in terms of creating presets for this library. Dan is intimately familiar with the Arp 2600 and many other synthesizers. So you're really in good hands here. And yeah, this is the special one. Welcome. to the A2600. talk about the historical significance of the ARP 2600, perhaps the best way to illustrate that is to go into our famous folder here. We've started creating this more and more in libraries where we'll recreate a lot of the famous patches that were done with a given instrument, or in this case, synthesizer. And in the case of the ARP 2600, we are everywhere from R2D2 in Star Wars to the bass in Thriller to Jean-Michel's Jarre's Oxygene. It's really all encapsulated inside of this unit. It's so cool. In the case of Thriller, for example, I watched a variety of different videos, including Anthony Marinelli's beautiful videos on Thriller, and tried between the album and his lessons to recreate the patches. But once I've made it, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to make a couple of variations of it. So that's how deep it goes. It's not just that we do like famous patches, but it's also we do variation of them as well. I'm sure. And I just snuck this one in here, actually. There was no star or famous for this one. I just thought it sounded so cool. So yeah, I was like, this patch should have been famous on itself. And I know George Moroder wrote Scarface on a variety of different synthesizers, and I know he used the Model D, but I wonder if he used the ARP 2600. It has that like Scarface-y vibe to it. So I built this gallery inside of Soundpaint now, so you can look at the original synthesizers. Sitting with the 2600 is a special feeling. It's not always the easiest thing to use, but it can be inspirational for me just to have the images in front of me, so I can just like kind of like feel or smell the unit a little more, if you will. Needless to say, I also recorded every single oscillator in the unit to the 11th dimension. If you look up here on the panel, these are the oscillators. There's so many different settings. They're virtually all recorded in so crazy different many ways, and you can modulate them here. That's recorded as well. Once you hit like 20,000 plus samples for a synthesizer, you know, it warrants some depth. And do not mistake the 2600 just for being like a deep modular analog synthesizer. It's an amazing drum machine. It does some of the fattest 808s, and they're just so analog and yet so beefy. This is just the sound you can only get in this world here. It's perfect to my ears.